and I'm a bioinformatician at Pasteur Institute of Tunis. So thank you, Cristina, for joining us and for being our trainer today. And
Thank
without,
you.
I will start now introducing Our Ladies Tunis and Our Lady Global. We made a nice video for that. I will share my screen. Where is it? So here.
Hello and welcome to this.
We cannot see your video.
You can't?
No, we cannot. We did it for a second, but then we missed it.
Okay, how about now?
No, let's try
No.
to do it again.
Okay, now.
Yes.
Okay, good. Technical problems. So, okay, let's start.
Before starting the workshop, we'll introduce you to the Our Ladies Global and Our Ladies Tunis initiative. The R community suffers from an underrepresentation of minority genders in every role and area of participation, whether as leaders, package developers, conference speakers, conference participants, educators, or users. As a diversity initiative, the mission of Our Ladies is to achieve proportionate representation by encouraging, inspiring, and empowering people of genders currently underrepresented in the R community and to facilitate individual and collective progress worldwide. Gabriella de Caros founded Our Ladies on October 1, 2012. Our Ladies Global was born and the grant was awarded in September 2016. Since then, Our Ladies has grown to 170 chapters in 44 countries and 39,000 members. Our Ladies Tunis is part of Our Ladies Initiative and was created in May 2020 by women working as data scientists and biostatisticians and bioinformaticians. Our goal is to create an R community in Tunis and empower underrepresented genders in the R community. This is the core team of Our Ladies Tunis. Come and join our community on social media. This presentation was made with R-Markdown. Thank you for watching this video and enjoy our workshop.
Okay, so now, without waiting any longer, I will stop sharing my screen and Cristina will show us advanced like R-Markdown, what we can do like with R-Markdown.
Okay, hopefully you will all find it interesting. So,
yeah, I'm sure. I've been waiting for this.
Yeah, I know. I know. So let me see. I have a lot of screens I can show. No, I think this one is the one I want to show. Okay, so can you see my slide? Let's say the first one of can you see my video? I cannot hear anybody, so please, would somebody tell me? Okay,
yes,
perfect.
I can see.
Okay. Please tell me something. Okay. Okay. What I will present you today is the same thing that I have presented to in IRAM 2020, which was held the 20th of June past month. What I did present it over there, I did present it in collaboration with a colleague of mine, which I want to cite you because it's a person I work a lot with, and so I want to cite him, and you will see him later in one of the next slides. Before starting, I only have this unique slide with some material. Of course, I will share it with you. But first of all, I will share these links on the chat on the chat. I want to copy these links and share these links with you on the chat so that you can all have access to the material. The material is the same material I used in the IROM 2020. The reason for that, so please just 1 second so that I can, where's the chat? Where's the chat? Sorry, I'm not really understanding all the things here. Chat. There should be, yes, here it is. So this is the link to the RStudio material for this workshop. What you will see is this introductory page. You should all have access using the link, so please register yourself if you are not registered on R-Markdown. I mean, the good thing is that we are not those many people, so please tell me when you are okay, when you have done that. So when you are okay with RStudio, please tell me. So activate your microphone and tell me if you are okay and if you can see this. So we have these good opportunities to be just a few people, so we can wait each other. And tell me when you are done.
Yeah. For me, I'm okay with RStudio.
Okay. It should be accessible for everybody just with the link, so I don't need to do anything for you. So I have access to this, and I mean, I don't know if all of you already know RStudio. I know the RStudio Cloud. I know that Hedia told me that you have already used this instrument during your sessions or stuff like that. So probably people knows. So can I take this for granted? I mean, the way RStudio works, or do you want me to say something? So I asked to Maria Tecla and sorry, I cannot see all the names in this moment, and Kami as well. If you are okay with RStudio Cloud, or you want me to explain you a few things about it. Please, Kami, Maria.
I'm here, thank you. I'm Tekla.
Yeah.
I haven't used that page yet, but I use RStudio. So if the page is somewhat different, then I don't know what's the difference.
Okay,
yes.
So RStudio Cloud is it works exactly like RStudio, but it's just is a cloud where we can share project. The good thing, and I am gonna open one of these. I mean, what I was showing you before. So this one is like a workshop page where you have different projects, each one working as a normal RStudio project, basically. But the thing is that here all the environment is already set, so you don't have to you are not on your personal computer, so basically you don't have to install or load packages. All the things that you need for following me and also exercise, if we want to exercise doing something, is already installed in these in all these projects. This is one of the projects. This is the third, actually. So if you open one of the project, and when you open the project, please be patient at the beginning, because it can take a little bit of time for opening, especially the first time that you open it. When you open it, you are not opening my project. You are creating basically a copy of the project, which is yours. Only you can see that. So you can do all the things that you want in it. I will not see it. So if you make some mistake, you can go back. You can do whatever you want, take notes, comments, and whatever. You can change all the material that is inside, which is yours. An original version will always be kept here, I mean, in the original project. So it's a way for you of making a copy of a project, a copy of an environment which is completely set. You only have to work on that. And this is a very good thing when you want to, I mean, when in situation like this, when you are presenting something and you want to be sure that anybody can follow you without having any kind of trouble.
Sorry, Cristina. Yeah, but when you open the link, we don't have access.
You don't have access. Okay, so let's try to see which might be the problem. Actually, you should be able. Okay, let's see. Let's do it again. I am sending it again. Another link. Let's see if this one is working properly. Because probably something, because that link was copied like 1 month ago, so probably something changed.
I think that's okay, because
this one is okay.
Yes.
Okay.
This works for me too. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So
Thank you.
probably the link changed in the meantime. So I will copy this one and change it. And I'm going to do it now because I don't want to forget it. So, okay, this is the new link so that I can give you this one later and you can have it anytime. Okay, anytime you want. Okay, so anytime you click on one of this project, the project opens and then you can work on this completely set environment. So this is the good thing about RStudio Cloud. And this is the first link I'm sharing with you. The second one is the workshop repository, which is of course, one of my repository. Here you have exactly the same thing that are in the RStudio Cloud environment. But here you have, I mean, if you prefer to use GitHub and if you prefer to work locally, you can download, you can clone the repository from here and use it on your personal computer. In this case, of course, you will need to install some packages for sure, because you don't have the environment all set. To do that, there is this document, which is workshop packages to install.r. You just have to run this code and you will get all the packages installed automatically. Just one last thing before really starting is that probably is that here, yes, for the complete usage of this material, there is one package which is mine actually. I prepared that for the reason I will tell you later. So before running that script with all the packages to install, you have to download this one on your computer, but everything is inside this repository. So if you prefer to run it locally or to keep it locally for the future, you can take the material from here. And the last thing is the link to the IRAM 2020 workshop. This is the repo where they are storing all the material. Actually, here you will also find, the name was a little bit different, but you will find here Cristina Muschitiella, Nicolo Stamboglis, you will find the same material actually. If you click here, you will be redirected to to my repository. So basically here is all the material. The reason for which I gave you this is that they will probably publish also some video about the workshop. So I don't know, probably this is something, and also because there are some very interesting interventions and the workshop and sessions which you might be interested in. So this was about the material. So I will use exactly the same, also the same slides which I used in for the workshop. Of course, I will skip a lot of stuff because for a couple of reasons. One is that the workshop was actually 3 hours workshop, so I had more time for saying many more things. And the other one is that actually there was an introductory part to R-Markdown, which I will skip because I know that you have already been properly trained about all the basics of R-Markdown. So I know that you don't need to have any kind of introductory thing about R-Markdown. So I will use the same slides so that the material that I use is exactly something that you can follow across also RStudio Cloud. So you can follow the material anytime. You can also go back if you want and do something of the introductory things or introductory exercises about R-Markdown if you want. So you are free to go back if you need to. Okay, so very quickly, this is Nicolo Stamboglis as well as my colleague, the person with which I developed this material and the workshop I did in ERAM. As I said, I mean, the complete story about this workshop included also some basics of R-Markdown, and then there was parameterization and generalization, and then there is an example which I don't know if we will have time to see, which is a practical studio, a practical analysis that we decided to I mean, is the analysis on which we developed the workshop, basically, on which we developed the things that that I am going to show you today. So for parameterizing and generalizing R-Markdown, I had, of course, to use a practical example. And so I used this data from prescriptions, which I don't know if you know, but I will introduce you. This is a data set, basically, is a public data set, which you can find online. As it is an English data set about general practitioners and all the drugs that they prescribe during the years, basically. We decided to use this data. And so also the package that I developed and which is included in the repo is about this data. Okay, so RStudio Cloud is something I've already a bit introduced, so this part it's fine. So if you have any questions so far, please come in and ask whatever you want, or we can start with, let's say, the core part a little bit. So please tell me anything. Are you okay? Are you set?
Yeah, everything is okay, Cristina. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So let's move on. Okay, so I will completely skip all the part, all the introductory part on R-Markdown, but I still want to tell you that one more thing about RStudio Cloud, actually. So let me just, oh my God, I don't like this thing here appearing, which is, okay. Inside all the projects of R-Markdown, you will find some exercises and also the solution to the exercises. Sorry, is recharging a little bit, is updating the page. The reason is that the exercises are not intended to test what you know how to do. They are just a way for you to practice with the things I will show you. So anytime there will be something to do practically, then you will already have the solution to those things, of course, so that you can see how to solve the different cases. Okay, so I will completely skip the basics of R-Markdown because I know that you are absolutely okay with that. And I will go straight to the concept of parameterization in R-Markdown. Parameters in R-Markdown can be contained in, are always contained in the YAML section. Which I know absolutely that I know that you know what is the YAML section is the part the top of an R-Markdown document, and parameters can be of two different types. There are document parameters and output parameters. Document parameters are something that you probably have already used. So are those words that you introduce for customizing the document, so the format, so that you can, for example, if you want a table of content, if you want a date to be inserted, if you want to introduce link citations and stuff like that. All the things that are inside these three dots are parameters. Okay, sorry, I was just reading something on the chat. If you need something, please stop me, Hedia. If you
Okay, because Cami is asking, can you put in the chat the other links you mentioned?
Oh yes, sorry, you are absolutely right. I forgot. I told you that I was doing that, and then I forgot to do that. Here it is. We will show you also this. We will give you also this slide for sure, but in the meantime.
Yeah, actually, I said that we will
Yeah.
send
But no
those.
worries, somebody want to. So this is one, and this is the other one. Okay, there you are. Okay. Let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so I was talking about document parameters. So document parameters are about format, basically. You have probably already used some of these parameter with probably for, as I was saying, for putting a table of contents or something like that. But then there is another kind of parameter, another typology, which are the output parameters. And these are those parameters that are used for changing the content of your document. And we will go through this argument in very soon. All the parameters are, for the usage of all the parameters, indentation is always very important. This is something that I'm sure somebody else already told you. So the difference between these two, for examples, is that the first one will not work, the second one will, because the indentation is very important. So if you write HTML document, then you have to use another space for defining the subparameters of this parameter. And which are the things that you can control with the document parameter? You can control the style, let's say, of your, for example, of your document. So, for example, you can change the theme, you can add the number of section, you can add, as I was saying before, the table of content. You can add a date, also insert using R code inside the parameter, because you can also use R code inside the parameters. Or other things. Here there's a link which you will find. These slides, sorry, just a very quick stop. These slides that I am showing you are included inside RStudio Cloud too. So if you go in the third section of the third project, let's say R-Markdown parameterization, in the material you will also find the PDF of the slides I'm showing you. So you will find the slide on the repo, you will find the slide on RStudio Cloud. So the material is really is free everywhere, it's completely transparent, so you should not have any kind of problem accessing all the material. So if you want to follow, for example, what I'm telling you, and if you want to use these links while I am presenting, you will find the presentation in these different places I just mentioned you. Okay, here there is a theme gallery, for example, for all the possible themes that you can use in R-Markdown. So you can custom your the different theme that you want to use. This is just an example, but you can also customize your personal output formal or your personal theme. There is also an interesting package, which I don't know if you know, probably you do, which is Pretty Doc. Pretty Doc is a package containing basically styles. So the good thing is that there is an already defined style. Here some example: Cayman, Tactile, Architect, and so on. And so if you choose these styles, then the output will be completely different from a regular, let's say, R-Markdown. So it will be already formatted in the way, like, let's say, in a nice way or in a better way, without having to add a single parameter for customizing colors or table formats or something like that. Okay, so one of the first things I'd like to do together is on RStudio Cloud, just for also trying to start using RStudio Cloud so we can warm up a little bit. So in we are in the third section. There is this exercise 4. Of course, we are skipping I am skipping the first 3 exercises because the first 3 exercises were about the first part, which we are not seeing today. So we can go to the R-Markdown parameterization project, and you have these exercise 4 document parameters. You can try to do something. You can add a floating table of contents, for example, adding this parameter TOC equal true. You can add a numbered section, adding number section, and you can also change theme. For example, okay. For example, you can add a theme, adding a cerulean theme. So if you see here in the first part, the part of the parameters, all these elements are missing. What I'm asking you at the moment is just try to add some of these parameters. Probably this is something that you all have already done, but let's try to, let's say, familiarize and warm up with also the project. If you have troubles and if you need a guide, you will find the solution here, as I was saying. So you can even just copy from the solution and add the content to your exercise. As I was saying, this is not a test. It's just a way for you to see what happens when you add single parameters. Sorry, because I'm receiving all the thing that you are posting while we are working, which is amazing, girls. You are so active. I mean, it's fantastic. Because I have here my my watch, and I'm receiving all these notifications about posting things. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Okay, what we've done here by adding this parameter is adding a table of content, is adding number of section, and you can also see what happens if you change these things. I mean, if you put number section to false and you run it again, then you won't have the number of the sections anymore. So this is the way parameters work at work. Probably, I mean, this kind of parameter, the document parameters, is something that you already know and already know how to use. Probably you have not used all of them, but I mean, there are a lot of things that you can add. And also there is the date, which is automatically introduced using this code, this R code. And that's what it is. So tell me if you are okay with this. I hope this is not too easy for you. If it is, tell me so I can skip directly to the next section and see something more advanced, because I actually don't know really how much in deep you are with this topic. So tell me if this is too easy for you, and we will skip this part. If not, I will go on. But tell me something. Tell me if you are okay with this, and if I can continue. If you want me to help you, for example, in this exercise. I want to hear something for you. As I was saying, we have these good things that we are not so many people, so that we can talk to each other.
Tecla Maria Cami. So
Maria is probably sleeping because it's midnight. So she
yeah. No,
I'm trying to wake up.
This is Cami. No, I'm familiar with this, but I love your organization and already linked to resources like other themes that can be used. So I'm good with the content, but learning stuff already. So thank you very much.
Okay, that's all. Thank you. That's perfect. I'm glad with it. Okay. I wait just a minute for the others to see if they are, if they want to tell us something, if they are okay with this too, if they are having troubles or trying to execute this part. So just tell me something, or I will wait, let's say, a couple of minutes more, and then I will go on.
I'm a bit lost, but
who are you? Sorry, Tekla? Is Tekla
yes,
speaking?
Tekla,
Okay,
sorry.
okay.
Yeah, Tekla.
Yes, I tried to make this first section where you add the theme cerulean and things like that, but I can't make it work. So
you can make it work. What is the problem with it? I mean, are you trying to add the parameter, or you have already added the parameters, but you don't know how to knit the document and produce the output, for example?
Well, so I tried to knit it, but it gave an error in YAML load. Scanner error. Mapping values are not allowed in this context. Line 4, which is
okay. So you might have done some, there might be something wrong. So have you written the things yourself or copied it from the solution?
I put it there myself. And
okay, so if you have done that yourself, consider that, I was saying before, it's very important that you use the correct indentation, because the number of spaces that you leave before the things that you write, so the indentation, it's very important and is basic. It's fundamental for Markdown to being able to read what you are asking Markdown to do, basically. So as you can see here, for example, where you have the, can you see it properly, or do you want me to enlarge it a bit? Well, I don't think so, because you have yours, so probably you don't need that. But
no, I can see it fine.
Okay. So if you see here, output HTML document, here there is one space. Then as these other parameters are sub-parameters of the HTML document, the way you say to R-Markdown that this is a parameter and these are sub-parameters is using spaces. So one space is, this is a parameter, two spaces is, this is a sub-parameter. So it's very important that you use the correct number of spaces here, or you can use the tab or whatever. If you are in trouble, you can see the solution, as I was saying, because in this folder, solutions, you will find the same number for exercise number 4, which is already developed, which is already done, let's say. So you can even just copy the entire part and paste it to your exercise, so you can see what is different from what you did before, for example. Yeah. Okay. So what I believe is that error that you are getting is probably due to this kind of problem. Or you can also try just to put one of these elements and start just with one of these, okay? Just for starting, for example, and trying to knit and to see what happens. For example, if I delete here the space and I try to knit it, actually it produces it anyway, because because the talk it's probably recognized anyway.
Okay, I missed the double dot behind HTML document, so
okay,
that only thing was missing. Sorry.
Okay,
thank you for your help.
that is welcome. Oh, no, you're very welcome. Yeah, that's the reason I'm here. Okay. So this was just an initial, let's say, exercise. And it is all I am telling you about document parameters. Of course, there are a lot of other things that you can find. I mean, you can find, I think there should be some link somewhere about, probably not in this presentation, in another one, but I have put a lot of links all around the presentation with a lot of materials and website where you can find a lot about the things I am presenting you, because there is nothing actually completely new in what I'm presenting you today. What I developed is just an approach in the usage of parameters, but I mean, everything is that has documentation, so you will find a lot of stuff here and there. Okay, so let's move on to the output parameters. The output parameters, first of all, does somebody already use the output parameters sometimes in an R-Markdown document? You can raise your hand. Actually, there should be also a way for raising your hand.
Actually, I do.
You had, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Somebody else? Okay, I would take it as a no, actually. Okay, so let's start with the output parameters. What is an output parameter? It's something that you you put in your document. Let me just move one step back. The way you use R-Markdown, okay, I will tell you, let's say, my story and the reason for which I started using the output parameters. In my job, I have to produce a lot of reports for the things that I do. And a lot of time I have to produce, let's say, the same kind of output, but on different input data, for example. So what happens is that when I have a report, when I'm writing something, there is something that is valid for all the analysis that I do. For example, the methodology or so on. And there is something which is not, which is, of course, data dependent. So a way for not having to change inside your document all the things anytime you change your input is using, for example, a parameter, which means that if I have to use let's say the more easy thing is that if I am running an analysis on data for different months, and I have to cite the month I'm working with inside the document, which is January, February, or whatever, instead of putting the name of the month inside the document, I can use one parameter. So I define the parameter at the beginning of the document, and I'm sure that anytime the name of the month appears inside the document, it will be changed without any possibility of mistake, for example, which is one of the problem. And the second problem is that any time I have to run different report, I have to go through the markdown, find all the places where I have put, for example, the name January, and change it in February if I'm analyzing a following month. And also, I don't have to produce different reports to create different markdown for the different months. I will create only one. I will change the parameter on the top of it, and all the thing will change inside. But we will see it in a minute. How do I define? Where do I define, first of all, the output parameter? I define it always in the same place, which is the YAML section. I define the output parameter using the params section inside the YAML. So the params parameter and the subparameters, which are the parameters I want to define. let's say, for example, as I was mentioning you, I can use as parameters month, year, name, my name, and sequence. These names are free. I mean, I use month, year, name, and sequence, but you can use any name. Your parameter can be called A, B, C, D, for example. In both, Akil, which is somebody I have not seen before, is asking in the chat if the params can be used on the text or chunks inside the R-Markdown. In both, we will see it in a minute. We will see many examples now. So we define the parameters inside the YAM section, and then we use inside the Markdown document using these code params dollar name, month, year, or sequence, or whatever. So you have to consider that, I mean, you all know this symbol, which is dollar, and it's a symbol that you use, for example, if you want to extract a part of a vector, a part of a list, for example. Indeed, you have to consider that with this YAM section is if you are defining a list called params, and with the following elements: month, year, name, or sequence, list, or you can imagine it as a vector, for example. So if you want to use the content of the part of that list, you just have to use the dollar symbol. So of course, this is this is code, basically. Indeed, if you want to use it inside the text, then it's all you have to do is to insert these little code chunks, let's say, which are not the big code chunks that you use with all your analysis and formula and whatever, but you can use these little code chunks inside the text. So let's try to see the first example so we can try to familiarize with this concept. There is this exercise 5, which is in the same section we were seeing before. So the number 3. So Hetia, are you taking care of these people coming later, like the Akil? So if they want to join their RStudio Cloud from the link, can you take care of them?
Yes, Cristina, I will send them the link.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so there is this exercise number 5, which is a Markdown. You can run it. You can run it as it is at the beginning, just to see what is the output of this very small and simple Markdown. It contains just 2 things. There is just this one thing, this welcome message. Hi everybody, I'm Cristina, and this report was created in May 2020. Now let's have a look at the code. The message is, hi everybody, I am, there is not my name here. There is a little chunk with the name, with params dollar name, and the name is the one that was defined here, Cristina. This report was created in params month, and the month is here again, and year, which is defined here again. The sequence for the moment is not okay. I use this just for you to see a numerical parameter, but this has no sense. Basically, what is written has no sense. The original value is param sequence. Then we will see it later what that means. So what I want to ask you is to see these things. You can change the value of the parameters. So I invite you to do that. So change the name with your name, change the month with another month, for example, July, which is the month we are actually in. You can change also the year if you want, and you can change the sequence. If you change the sequence parameters, what you will see is this, that in the output, there is this simple calculation which takes the value of the parameters and write the mean of the sequence. It just make a very simple calculation, is the average of this sequence. So if you change it, you can see that both the name of the name here, the value here of the sequence will change, and of course the value of this very simple calculation. This is just for you to see that you can use the parameters in this way, both in the text or inside the chunk. So do that, do something. I mean, you can even try, if you feel confident, you can even try to add some other parameter and see what happens in the text if you use it. So I will leave you a couple of minutes so that also in this time, Akil, which I hope is the correct way of pronouncing this name, can connect to the RStudio Cloud and come to the play, to the, I mean, to where we are basically. If you need help, just ask, and I think I will leave you a few minutes for. Okay, perfect. Akil apparently is doing okay. This part, I don't think, I don't know if this part has some solution. Yes, it does, but it's exactly the same, because actually there is no solution for this part. What I just want you to do is to try to change something. So to put a different name here, a different number here, and in the document again for seeing how the thing change. Again, I hope this is not too easy for you, but it's just because I want to get into the more articulated things just gradually, let's say. So just tell me if you need something.
Cristina, maybe actually I couldn't copy and paste the link. Could you please?
Yes.
Okay, they said
The RStudio Cloud link.
yeah.
Yeah,
The link to the RStudio
yes.
Cloud. I don't know. Today I have lots of problem with my laptop.
No worries. Just having trouble with this. Is there a way of oh, there, yeah. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Copy sharing link. There you are. Here's the link. Oh, you're welcome. And this is where we are at the moment. Let me see what we have to do after that. I leave you working for a sec, and I leave you working for 1 minute. I'll be right back if you don't mind. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, so maybe 2 minutes for exercise 5.
Okay, 2 minutes. And if you don't mind, if you don't mind, I'll be right back in 2 minutes. Here I am again. Sorry, but I have 3 cats and they were walking around my table like little sharks asking me for food. So I had to go there and give them some food. Okay. Are you all okay? Are you all okay with this? Can we go on? Katia?
Okay, so
Okay. So sorry about that. Huh? Okay. So let's move on. Okay, so this was just for warming up a little bit. The real reason for the usage of parameters, I mean, is it's wider than that, because you can use parameters for I mean, if you need to run report, for example, for a specific customer or for a specific section of your data. So basically the usage is for reproducibility, basically. So I will skip this. It was a little video, but I will skip that. Now, for giving you a real world I would like to give you a real world example. I would not spend too much time on that, because I would really like to go to give you the overall idea of what I want to show you, because the usage of the parameters that we have just seen is just a very beginning of what is the idea of this workshop, because the idea is to see how to use these little I will say is like this little cellular element, which is the parameter, for creating something which is completely automatic and which you can use for I mean, for different kind of situation without changing your R-Markdown document. The example I want to use that I have created for this workshop comes from this website, which is English NHS Open Data website. Where you can find data about concerning, as I was saying before, concerning all the drugs prescribed by general practitioners in England. Is a huge, I don't know if somebody of you knows already these website and these open data, these NHS open data. But I mean, there are a lot of data actually here. The kind of data that you can find are, for example, the code of the practitioners with the BNF code, which is the code of the drug, and then the related name. For example, the first row here is about these are area code, these first two elements. So basically, this doctor which works in this area has prescribed all these are all about the same, yes, all these drugs which having these codes and these names with these numbers. And this is the net, this is the cost, this is the net cost, this is the actual cost. So this is the total quantity, and this is the period, because the data are reported monthly. This is an example of the data, the kind of data that you can find on this website, for example. And that colleague of mine, which I mentioned you before, Nicolo Stamboglis, and we are trying to make an analysis of this data. This is a flux of data, basically. The data are updated monthly. There is a huge amount of data actually, and we are trying to develop some specific kind of analysis for different months, which can be, let's say, which can be extracted for a period of time, for drug or for a single doctor. So we are trying to customize analysis for this kind of information. So this the reason for which I needed to introduce introduce you just a little bit this typology of data is because these are the data that you will see in the next example. So at least for you to have an idea of what we are talking about. We are talking about data concerning drugs prescribed by doctors. The data are divided in months and in areas. BNF are the code of the drugs, basically. And the data are for England, okay? So if you, I mean, there's also a project that we are developing on this analysis, which I will probably tell you something about later, but probably not, because it's not the central topic of this workshop. Okay, so there is an example which I will not ask you to run this time. I want to go very fast on this part. I will show you this part. I will show you this exercise 6 very quickly, because I don't want you, no, this is not of any interest anymore. Here we are. There is this example. Okay. What I want to show you about this example, this is I want to knit it. This is going to take a little time because it's downloading the data of prescriptions, and is using, here we are almost, okay. Okay. This is a very basic and simple report which uses the data I mentioned you just now. This report is generated using information on a sample of drugs prescriptions in primary care in England in April 2019. The report is parameterized using parameters reported in the YAML section of the RMD. You can change month, year, and executor name of the present report by changing the values of the corresponding params in the YAML section. So if you go back to the code, this parameter, month and year, are those which basically on which this part depends. So in this report, there are some information. In particular, you can see some summary statistics of the quantitative information for the month selected. So what I'm telling you is that in this table, there are information concerning the data I was showing you before for the specific month, April 2019. Then there is the cost distribution of the practices, which is about April 2019. Then there is a prescription rate. Now here, of course, the typology of analysis that we did and here is not of your primary interest. What I want you to see here is that all the plots and tables I am showing you are about this specific month. If here I change the month and I put May, for example, and I knit the report again, just for having changed here the number of the month, all the analysis that I've just showed you will change. For example, here you have
That's
May.
amazing.
Here you have May 2019. Then you have that the summary statistics now are about May. The cost distribution is about May. So it's not just the name of the month that is changed, but also the content, of course, that is changed. The prescription rates is again May 2019, and so on. So this is a very simple way of using the parameters, but I want you to show the code which is behind these. The code uses, of course, month here, and okay, executor is not of a primary interest in this case. Two things. The first one is that one of the library that are here included and uploaded is the one I mentioned you at the beginning, which is this prescription package, which I developed for doing a lot of things, because of course, as you can imagine, these simple tables, but the cost distribution, the plot, for example, of course, requires some code. And so this code is standard, and I have packed it inside this little package. But also the package performed the downloading of all the data separated for months. So there is something behind what I'm showing you that is which is inside the package. If you are interested in it, I will show you there where to see, because of course it's in my GitHub, so you can download it, change it, and play with it and have fun with it. So you can go in deep if you are interested in that. And there is the code. The code just I will not go in detail of all the steps, but for example, the month is number 5. It takes the number of the month, and using this very easy code, change the number in the name, because the name is the one that you see here, that you see here. So here you don't see the number, but see the name of the month. Then using the prescription, data are imported for the specific month selected. And once you've done that, let's say, for example, okay, this is the setting. Inside, let me just find, okay. So the parameters are used all around this code for selecting the specific month and playing and executing all the analysis for that specific month. So the parameters here are used inside, are used both in the text and also in the code, basically. So I don't want you, I mean, if you want, you can of course do that. You can change the month, year, and see what happens. You can also change the year. Data are for 2018 and 2019. There are no data for 2020 because it's not complete yet. So I did not include that. So I have just spent a little time also for explaining you the content of the package, just because this is the kind of example I'm using also in the next part. Okay, so this gives you an idea of the way of a way you can see you can use the parameter. Of course, there are also other typology of usage. For example, and again, I will not ask you to do that, but I mean, if you want to do that, just feel free to do that. Another example is something similar to what we've just seen, but there is an additional parameter here, which is GP. GP stands for General Practitioner, so the doctor basically. And here also there is, it takes always a little time for downloading and executing all the parts, but also, here we are, there is something about the specific practitioner I have chosen. So this is the net ingredient cost per capita. So this is a specific, so this indication here, this is the place where the specific practitioner, the specific doctor is inside the distribution of the cost, basically. So this is the cost of the drugs that this doctor is prescribing. So this is specifically for that doctor, and you can change the doctor by changing the code name of the doctor here inside. So with this, I want to show you which are the potential the potentials of the use of the parameters, which you can use in a very simple way, like that welcome message I did at the beginning, and that is of course a way of starting with it, because you have to get used to the way of using it. Or you can use in this other way, which is a bit more advanced. Why? Because and I will show you in the next step, all the analyses that are performed using these parameters are performed inside some functions, and that we will see how to do that in a minute. Okay, so I would skip this part again, and I will go to the next step. The next step is about generalizability. So I'm sorry if I'm too fast. Tell me, Heidi, are you trying to tell me something? There is somebody, no, somebody is taking, want to speak?
I will ask them.
Yeah.
So is it okay for you? Are you following?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Cristina. This
Hi.
is Ram here. Hi. Sorry, my apologies that I have joined a bit late.
Okay.
I'm really sorry about that. So I have a so since I've been following up, I'm really need your help. So when I'm trying to like using the solution, when I'm trying to execute the codes, let's say when I'm going through your the first example, like I'm changing my name and giving the params, and when I'm trying to when I'm trying to execute the command, so it is telling me to save it. Okay, so by default I have chosen to store it as HTML, but by the time when I'm trying to execute it, it is asking me, the moment I'm clicking my button on this netar, it is asking me to save the file, but it is not actually happening. I'm
It's
sure
not
it is.
saving the file. This is weird.
Yeah,
So you are telling me that anytime you use the neat button, it asks you to save it?
Yeah, it is asking me to save it. So the moment I'm clicking over here, it is asking me to save the file, but neither it is showing me what is the type of the file it's want to store, or by anyways it is not helping me. So just want to know if you have experienced this, or maybe
I've never experienced that. I don't know if you want to show your, but are you doing that by, are you using the neat button here, as I am saying, as I'm doing?
Sorry.
Simply.
Yeah, exactly.
You are
The
just
way you
doing
are.
that, but it asks you, and I mean, if you do save it, then it is not saving it.
Yeah, when I'm clicking over there, it is not saving it. Neither it is giving me an option that what format you want to save or something. Like, let's say if
The
I want to.
format is normal because the format is inside the document. So
Right.
is implicit that is the HTML. So that is okay that it is not asking you. But what I mean, it's new to me is this thing that is asking you to save it, which is weird. It probably asks me if I try to knit in a different format. But no, not even that actually. It's weird. I've actually never experienced that. And you have not, I mean, sorry if I'm asking, but you've not changed anything. I mean, like the R version, for example, you have not changed anything. You are using it as it is.
Yeah, I'm using it as it is. Yes.
Let's try. Why don't you try with another one, for example? Try with another one and see if it's the same. Let's say try with an exercise number 6, for example. Try with another one and see if it's the same. So if it's the problem is with this specific exercise or with another one. And the last thing I can tell you to try, it's the always valid thing, like shoot it off and shoot it on again, put it on again. I mean, try to switch off and on and see if it continues, because it's weird. I think nobody else is having the same experience, right? Is anybody else having the same experience?
No.
No, I haven't.
No,
I'm sorry. Like I'm using the my organization server. So I'm really sure. I'm not really sure like what exactly they have done with the R. I mean, initially I used to use the standalone version in my personal PC, so that used to be very friendly. Now with this laptop, I'm using the my organization's R version. So that probably, I don't know, maybe
Yeah,
something.
there might be something. There might be some kind of setting if it's a working laptop which is doing that. I'm sorry about it, but if you want to see the output anyway, you will find the output in the solution sections. You have the markdown, but you also have the output. So if you want to see the output, you can go there. Of course, you will not be able probably to change the parameters. So this is the problem. So I don't know how familiar you are with, so yeah, probably you have some kind of limitation with the usage of the web if it is an enterprise computer. So as we are using RStudio Cloud on the web, so probably there is some kind of limitation. So this might be a reason. In that way, you can try one of two things. One is to try to execute that again when you have your personal laptop, and the other one is if you want to try to use to download, to clone the material from the repository, but that is going to take more time. So probably it's better if you do that after the workshop. So if it's a problem for now for you to execute the exercise, I'm sorry, but the only thing I can tell you is just follow now, and then after the workshop, tomorrow, in any other moment, if you want to contact me if you have troubles, please feel free to do that. I'm sorry
Thanks
about
for the
that.
support. No,
No
no issues.
worries.
Thank you.
Christina, actually, he can then this workshop will be recorded and will be accessible via YouTube. So he
Okay.
can access it at any time.
Yeah. Also, if he has some specific problem and he wants to,
yeah.
Sure.
there's no
Thank you.
problem.
We have a question actually. So Akil is asking if a parameter can be a complex object like a vector or a data frame.
Yeah, they can. Absolutely. They can be as, obviously, then you have to put the things in a different way, because here is a sequence. If you want a vector, you can put here a vector. Of course, the complexity depends. It cannot be cannot be too complex, of course, because you have to put your parameters here, but there is a way of using more complex parameters, and I will get into that in the following section. So let me go on a little bit, and then then we can talk about this specific topic when I will be on the point. Okay. Other questions? Hedia, there are other questions for the moment? Okay, so let me go to the point here, which is the one of generalization, basically, and what I mean with the term generalization here. Because when we talk in statistical terms and we talk about generalizability, we normally are talking about inference, basically. So generalize something means to be able to extend our results and analysis from a sample to the entire population. But here the definition of generalization I'm using here is more is more like the concept in the computer science. So generalization here is can be defined as software use. So is the possibility of reusing parts of code for more situations, basically, is the easiest way of defining it, let's say. So in our term is the possibility of using the same RMD script to analyze different facets of a study by making use of parameters. and never changing the RMD code itself. So let's now start thinking as Akil was asking. Let's start thinking about something more complex that we want to analyze. And what I showed you before, I mean, that analysis on the England prescription is something a bit more complex. For example, it's not just, I mean, the parameters I've used in that example are just a month, but there are other parameters on the back of that RMD, which are contained in that package I mentioned you. The package I mentioned you includes the generalization of something, and we are going to see it just right now, which allows for the usage of more complex parameters. So for guiding you in understanding what my approach is, and the approach I want to show you is, let's think about, this is a very simple, let's say, schema of what is behind an RMD, no? What is a Markdown? There are two basic engine behind what happens in Markdown. There are two packages basically. One is knitr, which is the part of the Markdown that converts all the chunks of code in output. And the other one is pandoc, which is the one that converts the document in one of the formats that you choose. These two engines are run together by the function, another function, which is the render function. So basically, when you use the knit button, let's say, the knit button runs this function behind, which is the render function. Of course, the usage of the knit button, it's easier and is the thing that you do. But if you don't use that button, but use the render function, the potentials of what you are doing are many more. For example, okay, the render function is this one. Of course, there are a lot of arguments in the functions, and here you will see, I mean, here you have the link to the function and all the details about the arguments. And of course, we are not, sorry. I will not show you all the arguments now, but just a few of them. I mean, the one that we really need for understanding the concept. And of course, you can use all the other arguments for making more and more complex things. But the render function, of course, takes an input, which is your RMD file, or also an MD file, actually, which is a Markdown file. The format that you want as an output, HTML, PDF, and so on. The name that you want to give to your output file, the directory where you want to put your output file, and the parameters if you have any. If you have some parameter, you can put the parameters inside the render function. So basically, without executing it now, I will show you these things. But the function that you see here, and I will show you the function here in the exercise number 9, if I can get to that. Sorry. Now we are in the project number 4 of the RStudio Cloud. So I think I will close this one. So let's just wait a second for it to charge. Here we are. Okay. Actually, that was an error. Sorry, probably it was better if I kept the other one. So do you remember one of the last markdown that I ran, the one having as parameters the month, the year, and the practitioner, the doctor, basically the code of the GP. This function is exactly the same thing as using the knit button inside that sorry, I'm really okay. Inside, where was that? Where was that? Was probably number 8. Sorry, no, the number 7. Yes. Okay. So the same thing that happens when I use the knit button here happens exactly the same thing if I run this piece of code, this render function. If I run this piece of code, it happens exactly the same thing. The only difference is that instead of popping out the output will be saved in this directory with this name. Okay, so you have to define the output directory where you want it. So you see nothing is happening, but the output has been produced inside this directory, which is this one, and with this name, GP report render function E09. This one, if you see, this one has the last modification just right now. So this is the one I've just produced. I can open it in the web browser, and it's exactly the same output that we see before. Okay. So this is the first step. Why it's important to understand this very first step? This is just a different way of running the markdown, and is the step, let's say, number 1. Let's move another step for understanding what I'm talking you about. Now, instead of defining inside the render function, defining the parameters or arguments of the render function, you can define these elements outside. So you can define input file using with the path of the input file. The output directory, you can put it here. You can use other parameters in this case, or objects in this case, for defining the year, the month, the GP, and the name of the file. The reason for that is something that we are going to see in a minute. I don't know, probably somebody of you is already understanding or getting to the point. This is, so here, actually, we should also, let's say, define this one. So we can put this here and put this one here, for example. Okay, so here we don't have anything defined inside the render function. We have all the things defined outside the function. So in this way, I have a render function which is never touched. I can not touch the render function itself. I can define the arguments of the function outside and put and use always the same render function. So if I run all the thing here again, it's working and is producing these. Okay, it's a different example, but here what we are seeing is the concept, not the output itself. Again, an output that's been produced without changing this time the arguments inside the render function, but by defining the arguments outside. Last step, sorry, where are we? I have forgot. Okay, here we are. The last step, which I want to show you here now, is that you can embed this function inside a function. Why?
Cristina?
Yes.
Should we see your screen? Because
You cannot see my screen anymore?
No,
Oh, sorry.
it's not shared.
Something happened. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Can you see it now?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
now.
so let me move a step back. So where were you? I mean, did you see the example?
We have seen just that
Okay.
you are showing now.
Okay,
And
okay,
it
perfect.
went lost. Thank you.
Okay, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so the last level, let's say, of these things that I'm showing you is the possibility of embedding the render function inside another function. So instead of simply defining the arguments outside, you can create a function. And now here, I hope that all of you are familiar with I wouldn't say with the art development, but at least with the creation of a function. I think you all are. But you can create a function with some arguments. And in this way, you can, and let me move to the last example. In this way, so this function does exactly the thing that we have done so far, but here I'm not defining outside the arguments. I have defined this function, which I can run. Now I have the function, and I can use the function here for changing all the different parameters, basically. And I just have to run the function for running the markdown with the arguments I have defined, I have decided to use in the specific case. Now, first of all, let me stop here for asking you if this is too much, or telling me if you are still following me.
Actually, I have a question, because
Yes.
so we write this R script, like we have the R-Markdown, and then we write the render function in another R script, right? Okay.
So here there is an R-Markdown. This is the R-Markdown, which is behind what we are running. Okay. So there is this R-Markdown with some parameters defined, which will be completely ignored and overwritten by the other parameters that you will put here inside. So basically, the render function is, let's say, overwrite what is inside the markdown. So even if there is something here which is actually no meaning. So here I have that month is month, year is year, and GP is GP, basically. You define year, month, and GP inside your render function, which is in turn defined by the function inside which you are putting the render function. Why is this useful? Or when this might be useful? This is useful because let's suppose that you want to put here, and here I want to answer, I would like to answer to the question that somebody asked me before. Suppose that you want to put inside your markdown a complex object, for example, a list of something, or for example, the output of some complicated function or model or prediction or whatever. You can define a function which takes some input data and produce this complicated output. And then you can put this output here as a parameter and use the specific output that you have obtained, use it inside your R-Markdown. Of course, the Markdown document must be created so that all the possible, I mean, your parameters has a meaning. and can be used, otherwise you will get an error. So of course, the most complicated, let's say, part is that of creating a markdown which allows you to use the kind of parameter you are putting inside. But if is correctly, let's say, correctly written, your R-Markdown, then you can potentially, you can put here inside any kind of output, any kind of parameter. Now, I'm sorry because there is no time enough for showing you some more detailed output. I would just like to show you something very briefly, because then I want to leave some minutes for questions or something. Let me just show you. The last section was about the usage we did of this concept of generalizability of R-Markdown with this specific project prescriptions. What we did was creating a package which also has a little Git book. I can give you the link, but you will find the link on the inside the slide as well. So this is a little Git book about this project that we are carrying, and inside there is also something about the package that we created for that. The package does a lot of things, does a lot of analysis, but one of the things, the only thing that I want to show you about this package is that the package allows you for running some complicated analysis on the specific practitioner you want to select, or some specific drug, and so on and so forth. And then at the end of it, now I am running it, it is downloading data. There is a function which is called render monthly report, which takes the specific doctor, and this is the code of another element, another subsection of the data, which is not meaningful in this time. Execute, if I show you the render monthly report code, executes an R-Markdown containing, this should be produced. I just want to show you, sorry, the output. This one is the one I have just produced. Okay. It produced an output which is parameterized for month, and all the things that are parameterized are highlighted here in different colors. This report is parameterized for month, for CCG, which is the section, okay, you don't care about that in this moment, and the doctor. So all the data that you see here inside have as parameter something more complex, a more complex object, which is the output of some statistical analysis, which is reported here for the specific parameters you have chosen. So this is an approach. All these, of course, the analysis here is a bit complicated, but the point is that all is behind this output is included in these 3 steps that I showed you before, which are basically, and I'm trying to take it again. No, sorry. Which are these 3 steps. The first one is the ability, of course, of using the parameters. Then to put the parameters inside the render function inside basically another function. This allows you of using all the kinds of parameters that you want to produce different kind of outputs, which can be as complex as you want, because this output is all based on one single R-Markdown, with all the parameters which produce the different output depending on what you give as an input of the function, basically. Now, I want to stop here because I think it's already too much. I prefer you to ask something, and I hope this was not too advanced for some of you. I hope you was able to follow till the end. Okay, I will stop and I will leave you asking questions, all the questions.
Thank you, Cristina. Thank you very much. Actually, it's really interesting for me and for all of us because we use R-Markdown, but not so advanced, you know, it's like parameters. I use it like for my daily work, but not so advanced. So learning all this stuff is really useful. And you know that I wanted, you know, it's like to learn all this even from the Iram.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, but I couldn't. So I'm really happy so that I learned so much today. Thank you very much. So let's see if you have questions. Actually, please, if you have any question, we will address now all the questions you have.
Yes.
So
probably Maria is was this Maria? Maria is sleeping because it was too late for her.
where's Maria? Maria, where
I'm
are
still
you?
here. I'm still here. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay, I'm joking, of course.
But thank you. Yeah. It's new for me, but you explained very well. Thank you very much. I will go to all the slides and practice, and I will try to do the exercise.
Okay, yeah, the good thing is that you have all the material, all the exercises, all the slides, so you can practice yourself and contact me. I mean, if you want to have
It's
any
really
trouble.
great. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, I'm so happy. And thank you to be still awake.
Actually, you kept me awake because it's really interesting.
It was really very well explained.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That means a lot to me.
I will start asking a question.
Yeah.
So in bioinformatics, sometimes we have like data, but then, you know, it's like the um, which we can maybe change in different folders. So and then we have different experiments. Can we use the same R-Markdown if the analysis is the same, but only the data is changing?
Absolutely, that is absolutely the kind of situation where this kind of approach might be very useful. My suggestion in this case is that of starting with the analysis that you want to run on one single case, let's say one single case and one single piece of data. And write all the things that you want to run. I mean, all the things that you want to put inside your Markdown. After that, when you are sure that what you have written can be reproduced for the other data, start one piece at a time by generalizing that piece. So think, okay, this analysis that I've just run, I want to be able to use this with other data. So create your parameter and test it. So the approach that I would suggest to use is always a step-by-step approach. So please, first of all, create your overall Markdown, the one that you want to use for in one specific case, and then start generalizing one piece at a time, because the code might get very complicated. So it's always a good thing to be able to know which part you are testing in that specific moment. If you create a too complicated Markdown, then something is not working, that it's not very easy to find where the problem exactly is or what is not working.
Wow, that's great. Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome.
Any other question?
So I'm glad that in the end somebody else joined us. At the beginning we were just
Yeah, we have more participants. So
yeah.
Tekla, Kami, Akil, do you have questions?
No, this is Cami. No questions for me. I love this. It's like a one-stop shopping, everything you need to know with references and resources. Yeah, I had a little bit of a background already, but definitely a couple of tools to elevate that. And I think I just need to practice at this point. But I really appreciate you allowing us to reach out to you if we run into problems.
Yes, absolutely. When you want, and I'm glad you have you've had something. I mean, I'm glad there is something that you've learned from that anyway. Also, if you have an experience on that.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Actually, I think we all need to practice a little bit because
yes, it's something that comes with practice. It's something that comes only with practice. Indeed, I have never studied anything about that. It's just that I needed something because I had to reproduce my analysis on different data. And the first time I did it on some specific data. The second time I had to reproduce the entire analysis by changing all the data inside. And when my chief asked me that the third time, then I was that, okay, I cannot work that way. I need to find a way of doing that in one single way. Otherwise, I'm going to get crazy. So this is basically, so it was a step-by-step development also for me. And I think that is the best way.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
So, yes. It's your turn.
Mune?
Yes. Sorry, but I think there are still questions in the chat.
In the chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see the chat in this moment. I'm trying to see how to get to the chat again.
Let me see. Okay.
There is a question from helper Monica. She said it's great. You can use a list with different structures and use in different chunks, different parts of the list.
So it's just a comment or is a question? Sorry, if it's a question, I haven't.
It's a question. Actually, she's saying you can use a list with different structure and use in different chunks, different part of the list.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, if you have a list, you just have to, by selecting params, dollar, parameter name, you get access to that parameters. If the parameter is a list, then with another, let's say, dollar symbol, then you can access one specific part of that list. So it's absolutely possible. Is very, I mean, it's very flexible as an approach. So you just have to start using it and to start with simple examples like the one I developed, like the try with that. I mean, just try to create some complex parameter and then try to use it inside a very simple markdown. So at least you can explore the potentials of the instrument. But anything you can imagine in terms of extraction of element from a list, then you can use inside this approach, basically.
So Akil is saying a very good and helpful presentation of the R-Markdown params use. Thank you, Cristina and the R-Ladies Tunis team. For me, it's very clear. Thanks.
Thank you.
Tekla is saying thank you a lot, Cristina. The presentation, the examples, and the explanation were all clear and fantastic. I learned a lot. So I think we all learned a lot today. That's amazing.
Really, really glad. Really, really glad about that. Really glad about that. And I mean, if you have a question, I think you have probably my email, or better, you can use the email which I showed. So I have to find that. I think it's in the conclusion slide, probably. There is an email, some email reference. Let me just show you that. Yeah, you can contact me on LinkedIn or GitHub if you prefer, but there is also this Gmail account which is specific for prescriptions. But of course, as we have used these prescriptions example for this workshop, then you can also ask, think about the workshop. And that would be me or my colleague, Nicolo Stamboglis, answering as well.
Do you have like, is there any tutorial to like go deeper in this actually? Because I don't, I think, yeah, there is no
Okay.
much there in the web.
Yeah. Actually, I don't, because I have not created any tutorial. I'm actually, one of my next objective, if I will find the time for that, is that of creating a sort of package for a guided creation of parameterized markdown. I would like to do that. So basically here you can find I mean, you can find some practical example if you go in deep, for example, of the prescription package. But of course, then you have to be used with the data if you want to really understand what is inside. Is one of the next things I would like to do. Actually, at the moment, there is no tutorial. There is just the material that you can find here and there, and the one I've linked inside all the presentations. So,
Okay. So practice.
Yeah,
The best
practice.
tutorial is practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much, Cristina. So in the name of our Ladies Tunis, we thank you all for this amazing workshop. I think we don't have more questions. Everyone is very happy with the workshop.
If there is no other question, then I want to thank you really, girls. And as I was saying, I think what you do with our Ladies Tunis is really, really amazing, and I will follow you. We're still following you because it's really, there's a lot I've seen that I want to see. So probably sometimes I will follow one of the workshops that you are proposing, actually. So you will probably find me there. Yeah, why not?
For sure, you're welcome. And
Thank you.
maybe after the COVID, yeah, we'll be happy to see you here in Tunisia.
Yeah, why not? Would be my pleasure, really.
We are neighbors.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank
Exactly.
you very much.
So,
Haifa,
thank you.
maybe Haifa would like to say some words before. Haifa?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Christina, for this amazing workshop.
Thank you very
I
much.
really like it. I like it very much. And I'm so happy that you are following us on LinkedIn and social medias. And if you have any suggestions to improve our content, you're more than welcome.
I will, for sure. If I find something, for sure I will.
Yeah, just send us an email or reach us via LinkedIn.
Okay, guys. Okay, thank you. Thank you very
And
much.
yeah, so we are on social media for all our participants, and we will be hosting an event this. Haifa, maybe you can say some words about the next event.
Yes, we are hosting an event this Wednesday with Madam Show. He will present his new package, Model Time, for forecasting time series. So if you are interested in, you can prescribe with the links. We will provide it to you, and we will send you an email with the links. So just send an email for us, or you can reach us in social media via Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. We are present actually in all social media. So, and we will we are also happy if you can share us with us our suggestions. You can also pin us an email to Tunis at ourladies.org.
Thank you, Haifa. Monet, do you want to say something? If not, so we will close this workshop. Monet?
No, you don't have your mic.
No, Mune, micro.
Sorry. So I said thank you, Christina. I really learned from you a lot today. And thank you for all the participants for your attention, and stay tuned to our upcoming events. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, Mone.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, so bye everybody and see you.
Amazing. It was good that
you.
I missed actually the event, the IRAM, workshop, because now I learned even more.
Okay, yes, I'm glad about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hadia. Thank you very much. And thank you, girls. Thanks a lot to our
Pleasure.
ladies.
Keep in touch.
Bye-bye. Ciao,
Bye.
keep in touch.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.